I'm going to South Africa, where The Color Purple just opened last week, and it is so huge there. The timing for this show is pretty incredible right now anyway, with the women rising up. But for South Africa, the story is so personal.
Hi, welcome to Door to Door with your host, me, Judy Stakee. Join me as I travel all over interviewing songwriters about their process.
So they weren't even going to have a theme song because no one thought the show was going to do anything. But then at the last minute they thought, well, if it had like a commercial hit, it could help promote the show. Right. So it was only 3 weeks before the show came out, and one of the producers was Kevin Bright, who had been, I had won a few years before the AFI Women's Directing Award, and he was put with me as my mentor. And he ended up being...
you were requested.
Yeah, he ended up being one of the producers of Friends.
Right.
And so when they decided they would have the call, it was a Warner Brothers show, so they called Warner Chapel. Right. And they, Kevin told, Brad, we need someone who's commercial but quirky. So anytime the word quirky was there, boom, I'm in.
Right.
And and he said, write this song and you're out.
Right.
So I only wrote that so I would never have to write a song again. So the perception, which I still hear to this day, was that when I stopped, and of course I only stopped for a period of time, but when I stopped, that I went out on such a high, I'll leave them with one more big hit. And I was barely crawling. I was so dead at that point.
But that's the thing, is that you, whatever you do, it's like you really, you get hits, like Color Purple, Friends. I mean, you go out for it. It's like you. Yeah,
when I do it, I do
it. You do it.
For me, it's someone giving me the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
Because as a songwriter, especially one like me who is not political and not good at servicing their own stuff, I'm dependent. Like when I had a publisher, I was dependent on the publisher. When now I'm dependent on the co-writer. Because I look at you as a friend or a party guest. That's where I'm going with it. So I don't want to ruin it with the hustle of, this song would be good for you, and then I hate you because you never get back to me about the song. I don't want to go through it. But yes, the stretches get a little longer in between, but when it finally goes, it's like, bam,
Right.
So I'm definitely due, but that's what this Songwriting Hall of Fame was a good little kick.
Absolutely, absolutely. So some amazing highlights in your.
Well, I thank you. You were a part of it. That's for sure.
My pleasure.
We didn't mention the man though. We didn't even mention Mark.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Judy introduced me to Mark Cuban, who became my first CEO of Willisville, and that's who we were going to the meetings with, trying to tell people about what the promise of the internet, and there's not going to be physical copies of records, and there won't be a tower records, and radio will be less significant, and we were just thrown out of every office basically, as buffoons.
So ahead of your time.
But that was Mark Cuban. So
he moved out here for a little bit after I was living in Texas.
Well, he wanted to be like a movie star.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to be an actor.
And lessons of, I know, he'll be like, girls, what are you telling everybody about me? But that was a fun time, because it was like, there were no rules. So it was just like, okay, what are you thinking, all those. I was telling the girls, I spent many an hour at this house, planning and coming up with the greatest song.
Yeah, only to get to a meeting and people go, what? Yeah.
So let me ask you something. What inspires you to get up every day and do this?
This meaning life or songwriting?
Songwriting.
Well, I'm back into songwriting again. I'm in a prolific period again after many years of literally only working on one song for 5 years for this Detroit project. I feel like in many ways I am more suited to be around in this period of music than I was, back in the day, because of the way I like to do things. So I love sampling. I love arrhythmic things,
Yeah.
So there's one chunk of artists in Detroit that I hooked up with. They kind of call it the White Motown. Even Motown calls it the White Motown. That it's a group of 20 to 30-year-olds. They bought a church. They turned it into a recording studio, a record company. They manage. This one writes with that one.
Community.
Yeah. So that's called Assemble Sound. So I just finished working with Flint Eastwood, who is a girl. She was at Lollapalooza this year. She's definitely bubbling. So it was like the old Allee, 3 songs, 2 days, boom, I'm out of there. And then here I'm writing with a guy named Jeremy Snyder. He was up for a bunch of writing, producing a bunch of songs on the Justin Bieber album last year. And we met at a pre-Grammy party because he was up for album of the year. I thought I was up for The Color Purple, went to all the pre-Grammy parties only to find out the writers aren't eligible. I mean, you're getting best musical. How are the writers not eligible?
Really?
Yeah. But anyway.
I was going to say, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, no, don't get into that. But, so, chatted at the parties. And then, when, I think when when I was nominated to be eligible for the Songwriters Hall of Fame, he texted me. So that was a couple months ago. And we've started writing. And so I love him. That feels like someone that I've known my whole life.
Yeah,
yet there's this 90-year stretch between us. But again, I kind of feel more suited there than I do here. So what gets me up? I'm not happy if I'm not working. I know that much about me. But I view what I do as a lifestyle.
I do too.
So when I'm doing music within that lifestyle, it makes me happier. But in general, I'm happy if I'm just, adjusting the bass here and doing, whatever. And, I live on eBay.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, 5 a.m. Where's Allie?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh my God. Someone asked me, Desmond Child asked me last night, if you had a regret, what would it be? So I would like the superpower to be, it's not really a superpower, that if, the one thing that I was never good at through this day is asking for things. Like the fact that I sold 60 million records and have never handed anyone a song to say this would be good for you to sing. I would like my superpower to be that I am no longer shy in that aspect.
And you want to ask for what you need.
I want to ask for what I need. Yeah, and especially with this whole thing about the women needing to step up. Oh God, worst choice of words. I don't believe he actually meant that.
I don't either.
Yeah,
Neil,
but yeah, really bad. But I do also feel this has nothing to do with the superpower. But I do feel that had I been a man, I would have, because I was producing all the demos, doing that. You just never got the opportunities. And if you were someone who wasn't aggressive enough to demand that,
right.
It kind of passed you by. Whereas guys who were doing the same thing just automatically were bestowed.
What we were witness and
so I've told you more about my weakness than my superpower. I don't know what my
fly.
Oh,
transport yourself.
I would love to be able to go back in my own life.
Okay.
And when I was telling you about the Motown thing and sitting there, I would give anything to feel what I was feeling. Anything.
Wouldn't that be
so
great?
I would like that. Like the ability within your own life to go back there so you could see, I was there, I'm here. That I would love.
Okay. So, do you have any parting advice for our budding songwriters out there?
No, I guess because I'm asked that a lot. And I'm someone who really, I can't be the person who helps you with the business because I've never known anything about the business.
I threw that question out.
Yeah, it's like, no, don't ask me. But I always say to people, as a songwriter, you must love what you're doing because you're kind of the forgotten one, in the process. You don't make money doing it unless you have a gigantic hit, basically. So my best advice always is make sure this is something you are completely passionate about. And then, if it is, make sure you have the balls to just stick with it no matter what. Like, I only wish I could be as ambitious on the business side as I am on the driven side to create, And then always express yourself or try and get into the mind of who it is you're writing for, but don't just write a song. We don't need one more love song. I always say a song can be really good with a shitty lyric. It can't be great, And I also think it's harder to write lyrics than music. Great lyrics.
I do agree. I think I'm harder on all my clients on lyrics than on melodies. Yeah. Because you can get away, I think, with a little bit more with melody. With words.
Yeah. And then you get these incredible melodies and these stupid words.
Yeah.
So you may have your hit now, but I can tell you, it is really great to have songs that are still played like they just came out, I mean, I thank God for September every day of my life. So, and do what makes you happy. So, age-old lesson, be yourself. But most of the times before you can be yourself, you have to figure out who you are. And that's the step that a lot of people skip.
I think that's the fun part, though,
If you learn to be fearless about it, and not let the things that you learn about yourself horrify you, which they can easily do.
True. But the only way that we actually get to the next step is learning something.
Absolutely.
No matter what it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you're going to co-write, write with someone who's interesting to you, because that can also, the reason I wanted to walk away from music was that I was getting on so many records. That's great. But writing with so many idiots, I can't tell you. Artists who were not writers, but they knew that that they want the publishing, they're going to do that. And it just numbed me down to nothing. So I'm fearless now about really, unless I find you and the collaboration interesting, I can't even get into the room.
I was going to ask you a co-writing tip, and that's perfect earlier, and this is perfect because that's a really good tip.
Yeah.
It's like you really have to be in the room with somebody that that's conscious with you.
Yeah.
Now there's always, as I always say, there's always those one-night stands that, two people get together and hate each other, they've written a hit and never get back together again.
Well, what's even worse is when one is really bored and the other one has been so inspired they want to die, because then, how many ways can you say no? Because I won't go back. I used to go back and finish no matter what. Now it's like, I cannot afford for you to club my brain to death,
Absolutely.
So.
Well, cool. Thank you so much for this, for sharing your stories with the community. Thank you so much for joining me in this door-to-door episode. If you liked it, please leave comments below. And if you'd like some more advice or tips or tricks from me, Judy Stakee, please follow me, like me, and subscribe to me on all my social platforms.